If you think you've seen everything nature can throw at you, think again. Tonight's story isn't about lions, wolves, or bears, the predators we've all been taught to fear. What we're talking about is far more dangerous, far more relentless, and probably lurking closer to your backyard than you'd ever dare to believe. Wild boars. So do yourself a favor. Smash that like button right now, because where this story is heading, hesitation isn't just a mistake. It's a death sentence. This isn't some cozy bedtime tale about woodland creatures. This is survival at its rawest. Out here, one wrong step doesn't just cost you the hunt, it could cost you everything. The hidden enemy, wild boars, call them hogs, pigs, tuskers, whatever name you prefer, they all mean the same thing: walking chaos on four legs. Across the United States, Europe, and parts of Asia, they've become one of the most unstoppable forces in the wild. They reproduce faster than rabbits. They run faster than a sprinter. And when cornered, they fight harder than any predator their size. These animals aren't afraid of you. They're not afraid of fences, traps, or even bullets. Every year, they leave behind a trail of destruction worth more than $2.5 billion. Crops shredded, irrigation systems torn apart, forests uprooted, native species pushed to the edge, and in some tragic cases, human lives lost. A storm, then silence. Let me take you to rural Alabama. A storm has just ripped through the countryside. Houses torn apart, trees snapped like matchsticks, farmland left bare. At first, the locals thought the worst was over, but the real nightmare arrived that night. Drawn by the smell of freshly churned earth, wild boars came in waves. Dozens, then hundreds. Their tusks glinted in the moonlight, their squeals carried through the rain. What began as scavenging quickly turned into an invasion. Locals didn't just sit back. They had technology on their side. Smart traps with cameras, motion sensors, even GPS tracking connected to cell phones. The idea was simple. When enough pigs wandered in, the door slammed shut. But wild boars aren't stupid. They tested the traps. They pushed against them. They waited for the wrong moment. And when the storm knocked out power, those high-tech cages became useless heaps of steel. So the hunters went old school. Fermented corn, sharpened stakes, ropes and wooden frames. Survival boiled down to what you could build with your own hands. Every trap was a gamble. Put it in the wrong spot and you'd lose your bait. Place it in the right spot and you might just walk away with a herd. Corn left to rot for days, turning sour and mushy. The smell could travel half a mile on humid nights. Hunters spread it carefully, not just anywhere, but where tracks and rooting scars told a story. Here a herd had passed. Here they would return. For days, hunters camped in silence, marking the ground, watching the brush. Every step was dangerous. The soil soaked, soft as dough. Too much weight and you'd sink. Too much noise and you'd be the one hunted. Each trap was hammered into place with wooden stakes a meter long or tied to trees with ropes so thick it burned your hands when you pulled it tight. No apps, no tech, just instinct. And then came the night. Wind howled, rain whipped the earth. In the distance, squeals cut through the storm. At first, a few, then more. The ground trembled. A herd was moving in. They're early, one hunter whispered. Larger, louder, hungrier. Dozens became hundreds. The trap groaned. A stake snapped. Then a shadow the size of a refrigerator rammed the frame. Steel bent. Rope frayed. Easy, son. Easy. Easy. The herd didn't scatter. They didn't run. They charged straight for the camp. Flashlights dropped into mud. Boots slipped. Men swung sticks wildly as glowing eyes pierced the dark. A single shot rang out, thunder mixing with gunpowder. Sparks lit up the rain. It wasn't a hunt anymore. It was survival. For hours, chaos reigned. Tusks clashed against steel. Hunters screamed to one another in the dark, every voice half drowned by rain and squeals. By dawn, silence returned. The herd had vanished into the forest. The hunters walked the field. Their trap lay twisted, steel bent like paper. Stakes ripped out of the ground. Trees gnawed raw. But what chilled them most were the tracks. Not random, not chaotic. They circled the camp. They tested weaknesses. They weren't just feeding, they were scouting. Wild boars had evolved. From that day, everything changed. Guards doubled. Watches rotated every 3 hours. Drones circled overhead. GPS trackers buried in traps. A ring of vibration alarms stretched around the camp. Every new trap had to be tested on smaller herds first, like practice runs, before being unleashed against the giants. Because the hunters had learned one lesson that no one would ever forget. Wild boars don't fear traps. They don't fear fences. They don't even fear bullets. The only thing they fear is humans who refuse to give up. So now I'll ask you, if it were you out there in the dark, what would you choose? Would you trust the narrow, sturdy trap? Simple, safe, predictable? A mechanism designed for control, where the outcome is clean and your chances of survival higher? Or would you gamble on the larger, more ambitious setup? The kind that promises a greater reward, but comes with teeth hidden in the shadows. Because make no mistake, the herd will test it. They always do. And when they press, when tusks scrape against steel and the ground shakes under their charge, that's when you'll know if your choice was brilliance or suicide. Across the globe, a shadow spreads. Wild boars are not just surviving, they're multiplying, invading, conquering. From the deep, whispering forests of Germany to the open plains of Texas, from Japan's fragile rice fields to France's sacred vineyards, their footprint grows wider with every season. They are architects of chaos. In a single night, they can undo months of human labor. Crops flattened, irrigation torn apart, fences reduced to splinters. Their hunger is relentless, their intelligence unsettling, and it doesn't stop there. These creatures adapt, they listen, they learn. One failed trap becomes a lesson for the next night. One wounded pig becomes a warning carried back to the herd. They are not just animals anymore. They are an army, evolving with every encounter. So when the night falls and the wind shifts just enough to carry the scent of churned earth, listen closely. That rustle in the underbrush is not the storm. Storms pass. What comes after does not. If this story made your pulse quicken, if you felt the weight of those footsteps in the dark, then I need you to do one thing. Hit that like button. It tells us that you're out here with us, standing guard against the wild. Drop a comment below. Tell me, would you trust the safety of a narrow trap or gamble everything on the bigger risk? Your words aren't just opinions, they're strategies. Ideas that real farmers, hunters, and explorers might take into the field. Who knows? Your choice might be the one that saves a harvest or even a life. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel, because this isn't the end. Out there, beyond the glow of the campfire, the wild never sleeps. Every night brings a new encounter, a new danger, a new story waiting to be told. With your support, we can track them. We can expose them. We can bring you face to face with the world's most relentless survivors. So join us. Stand with us. Keep these stories alive, one video, one voice, one subscriber at a time.